One of the top barriers to advancing financial literacy education in high schools is college admission standards. Most high schools are narrowly focused on getting kids into college and fail to address preparing them for life. Now, if we look at college admission standards, they've been very inflexible and they go back all the way to 1892. Back then, the National Education Association formed the Committee of 10, and their role was to standardize what high schools should be teaching to prepare kids for college. So both colleges and high schools became more standardized. Now, by 1913, most colleges and many of the high schools had adopted these new standards. There were some outliers, but if we see here the five subjects that they chose that were critical: English, math, social science, science, and foreign language. We see this here with a few colleges, with Georgetown University. Here we have some University of Wisconsin here, the middle left, which is more flexible. They required some math, some English, some science, but they had some more flexibility. But by 1920, most high schools and colleges were standardized. Let's fast forward 130 years, or from that date, 110 years, and let's see what colleges are required today. Shocker, they're requiring English, 4 years of English. They're requiring 3 to 4 years of math. They're requiring 3 to 4 years of science, 2 years at minimum of social studies, and 2 years of foreign language. So what is this telling me? Back then, this committee, and there's two options really. There's two real options as I was reviewing this. One option, you go back 130 years to 1892. Either this committee of 10, option one, the committee of 10 was so visionary. They looked around the streets, they saw people being main transportation options, horse and buggy. They saw only a small percentage of rich people had indoor plumbing or electricity. They saw a rural society that was really led by the agricultural industry. And they were so visionary back then that they knew what they formed as far as the subject matter standards for college admissions. They would last all well into the future, well into a future where they can envision computers, AI, global economy, and all the luxuries we have in life. That's option one. I don't think that's reality. My thought is the Committee of 10 knew this was for a near-term period to address near-term challenges of standardizing some coursework to get kids into college, to get everybody on the same page. Option two is where I'm leaning more toward, is the education system is so inflexible and they fail to adapt to changing modern times. If we just look at the advent of the computer, that should have changed a big portion of what we're teaching kids to prepare them for the modern day world. Education should be more flexible, and these college admission standards are really setting the stage and holding back any progress into subject matter reform. Subject matter reform is needed to ensure kids are prepared for modern day challenges, the modern day workforce, and the fast changes that are coming to the employment environment. One of these key things that they've completely ignored over 130 years is financial literacy education. And if we look at the primary challenges the majority of adults face today, it comes down to money. Bottom line, money is the biggest issue people face in this country and in the world today. People are struggling, and schools are doing nothing to address this challenge whatsoever. So we have major problems there, and to really, for those financial education advocates and for those subject reform advocates, we can really tackle this challenge in two ways. Number one, we can directly challenge the college admission standards and point out the fact that this needs to change to keep up with the current times, the current employment opportunities, and ensure that our kids are prepared for the realities of life. And I think that should be done on a regular basis, changing college admission standards, because times are changing faster than ever. So as an advocate, we can advocate for change. Now, if we look at the subjects being taught, if we look at literature, there's 2 years of literature required. There's advanced biology and chemistry. There's advanced math required. If we look at that, very few people will ever need that for their job. In fact, if we look at STEM subjects, the science and math side, there's less than 6.4% in the country employed today in STEM fields. Projecting out to 2033, the Bureau of Labor Statistics points it'll be about 6.9%. So by teaching these college admission standards, we're narrowly focused on a small group of people. Literature, really, there's very few jobs, and I had to take 2 years of literature. Most people do. American literature and world literature, what's the need? So there is plenty of room for change for more relevant subjects. These aren't the holy grail subjects, and we can address the college admission standards. And the challenge will be many of these departments are stuck in their ways. They're well funded, well ingrained. They have a lot of connections, and it's going to be a challenge to really be progressive in education reform and act in the best interest of our youth. The second thing we can advocate for is advocating for high schools to get away from the focus of college admission standards and to ensure our kids are prepared for life. Now, we can still have those math, science, literatures as electives for those that are college bound, but it's important to note most kids will never benefit from college. Let me share with you some data. 38%, 4 out of 10, do not go to college. How is it that we're teaching college-based admission standard subjects where 4 out of 10 will not benefit, right? In addition to that, so we have 38%, here's 100%, we have 38% that will never go to college. We have 33% of those that enter college that will drop out, right? Of that, this is a scary one, 45% that have done everything right. They're on the path, they've listened to their teachers, they bought into this idea of college. A decade after they graduate, they're in a job that does not require a college degree. 45%. So all this teaching we're doing in high school is for a very small percentage of students. I agree. We need engineers. We need doctors. We need these people. And we can still have that subject matter as electives, but we need to include things that are relevant in today's age. And I'll put number one on the list of financial literacy and personal finance education because it benefits 100% of the students. And it's the biggest struggle people are facing today. Now, there's some other things I would include as well. But as a financial education advocate, I'll leave this video at that point, but it needs to be taught. People are struggling and schools are doing little to address that. They're stuck in their ways with outdated college admission standards to go back 130 years when they were in horse and buggies. We have AI, we have technology now, and schools need to keep up with the times. Not only just this time, but there should be regular assessments of college admission standards to make sure it's the most relevant and most important topics that will benefit our youth today.